2020 has been an interesting year for people, ups and downs all around. I know that in your world, you can't give financial advice, but can you talk to me about why relationships are so important for when you have years where things could be up and down? Specifically, with Zack being able to speak, specifically in the world of money, and when a relationship, why that relationship being so strong is important when things are maybe a little more rough than others.
I'll talk about this in a couple points, and I'll certainly try to answer your question. Yeah, 2020 has just been a terrible year, right? We've got the coronavirus. We've had things open up, shut back down. Businesses are failing left and right. My escape room business right now, we're making ends meet, but we're certainly far from the profit margins that we've experienced in the previous years. And we're in a business where people have to be close and touch each other and be touching the same thing. And so, a world of, we went from handshakes and hugs to elbow drops and sometimes just air high fives. That's a challenging business for us to navigate right now. And I think we're doing it. Candace Gallmeyer, who runs that business for me, and I commend her for this. She's putting every effort that she can to make the business continue and run, and she's doing a great job at it. We're just stuck right now in the situation of the world that makes it very challenging for us. So, the question you asked was, how important is it for relationships when it comes to money? And I would even say it just goes beyond money. I mean, it's the LinkedIn, it's the Facebook, it's all those social platforms. It's just picking up the phone and calling somebody or doing a Zoom presentation or meeting with them. I think that's paramount in a world like today, just staying connected, because people are wary of switching jobs. People are concerned about whether or not they're going to have a job tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow is never guaranteed to begin with, let alone in a world right now that we're faced. And I'm happy to say that my financial planning business has done exceptionally well through this because of the uncertainty of the world. It's made people want to talk to us about their future. But I think it's important for people to maintain those. I always say it's important for relationships to be maintained to begin with. And I think people are finding that more and more now in this day and age, especially the advent of the world is changing. And, it's people are working from home, so they're losing that human interaction of going into the office. And, I used to go into an office every day, and, living out here in Arizona, I find myself alone in many cases. So I go to a cafe just to get out and just connect with people. I think people should just be doing that as much as possible, if not in person for safety reasons, just going out and doing so through Zoom and just pick up the phone and just reaching out.
Yeah, so you touched on pulling the plug on your business, and everything's going on with 2020. There's a ton of people that are probably contemplating the exact same thing, not knowing what to do, where to turn to, what people are going to think about them because they failed. What advice would you give to someone that's in a similar situation that is contemplating?
It's a crazy thing when you start a business, and here's why. Oftentimes people think people that have businesses make lots of money. And in many cases, that's true when you're a successful business. When you're a business owner, your responsibility, I'm not married or kids or anything, but let's say that I was. My responsibility to begin with is to my family. My responsibility as a business owner is to do good things in my business so I can support my family, which is partly why people start their own businesses, to help support and families and monetarily and time and everything. When you start a business, you have a responsibility to every person that works for you and their family as well. So when I look at a business owner and they fail, I don't look at them as a failure, because there's a heavy burden put on business owners, or anyone for that matter, but especially business owners, because starting a business is an investment, right? I could just go work for a person and get a salary, $100,000 a year, and kind of live life and be okay with it. When I go out and start a business, not only am I putting in a financial commitment, especially if you're opening up a brick and mortar where you commit to years of rent and then utilities, and then you have people that work for you. There are all these different things that you have to navigate through that are complicated in a way. And when you have that responsibility and that burden on yourself, and you're successful, great, but when you fail at that, I mean, unfortunately, anyone that had worked for me at my cafe would be out of a job, right, when you shut down. And anyone that has a business, a retail store that has to shut down, those employees lose potential benefits and security in life, and they lose the ability to feed their families. So my advice to business owners is don't put, yes, the burden's already on you and you may not have addressed it. And hopefully people like me and others are recognizing that you do have that responsibility and that burden. But, if you go out there and fail, I would much rather fail at starting businesses than to go out and work for someone else. And I'm not saying working for someone else is a bad thing. That's okay. Some people are just wired for that, and that's perfectly fine. But for me, it's, I would much rather take that risk. And I thrive on stuff like that. And I thrive on the idea of knowing that I can support multiple families and give people opportunities to do better for themselves. And if I fail at that, well, I'm doing what I'm passionate about. But it's at the same time, it's, you have to be, just because you start a business and you fail I'm not saying like it's okay, but you have to also be thoughtful in how you carry on with how you run your business too. So, talking to folks like you guys and having these conversations and being open about successes and failures are important as well.
The Fervent 4 is powered by the Small Business Development Center, which helps local small businesses grow through counseling. If you're interested in learning more on how the SBDC can help your business, head to startwheel.org/weekly.